Let me do a sound test real quick. I don't want to make this a long video because I don't really give a shit about this topic, to be honest with you. All right, let's see. Do sound test. I don't want to make this a long video because all right, perfect. Oh, honest with you. Okay, we're good. How you guys doing this evening? This night? Yeah, this evening. Actually, it's 12:30 at night where I'm at. I'm just doing some late night. I have the rare day off, so I might as well before I go to bed. Might as well just talk about this real quick. I don't want to go overboard on this because I mean, frankly, I really don't care about this topic. I just find this all everything, all the fighting, all the shit going on with this console. It just doesn't make any sense. Um. But anyway, this will be 26. Back again with another video. How y'all doing? Um. So obviously, if you guys been living under a rock, Soldier Boy had this new console. I don't know. I don't know what it's called. All I know is that it's a. All he pretty much did was put his name to a console that already exists from this Chinese company. It's pretty much an emulation box, and I don't know what the claim. I forgot what the claims are, but he claimed to have a whole bunch of games on there. Um, According to what some people are saying, that some of the games don't even work on it, which is the risk you take with emulation anyway. But he's coming out. He sold this thing. I thought it was really no big deal. I thought it was just something that he'll cut. Now, first thing first, I just see BG's video on this, and I thought that and what he thought is what I thought. I thought it was just gonna be kind of like this console where it has a bunch of indie games. I thought it was gonna be Android based. I didn't think it was just gonna be like an emulation box, right? And those things exist. You look at stuff like the PlayStation Classic, the Super NES Classic, NES Classic, and you have bootleg. So I actually was just playing. I actually just used a bootleg one. I forgot what it's called, but it's essentially a NES classic, but it's under a different name. I was just playing that today at a flea market. You'll find stuff like that at a flea market definitely. Um, so they're all over the place. Now the thing with Soldier Boy's console is that he's charging like twice as much as it normally would go for, and I think some people call him out on it, but I think for the most part, most of the content creators that I saw mentioned it, and it was pretty much it, right? Then here's what happened. I think the hoopla behind the whole thing started when he released a series of tweets, kind of talking hot shit, saying this, saying that, and the big thing, I think he trashed big YouTubers, and he trashed he pretty much said that forced Nintendo, I mean threatened Nintendo to say, "Oh, come sue me," or some bullshit like that, right? Now I don't know if he's at risk of being sued. I definitely don't think he's gonna get arrested. I mean, I'll address that point later. Because when it comes to like these retro consoles and stuff like that, they do exist. So, and I'm sure Nintendo knows about it, but since they don't really get any traction, they're probably not. They're probably not. They're more often that they're probably not gonna try to sue them. But obviously, Nintendo has their own history, shady history of trying to take down emulation websites and stuff like that. And I'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But ultimately, I think that's where a lot of the hate going on, and it goes both ways. So I'll address both for that, and then I'll just I'll come back to that later as well. Now, when the one thing I notice when it comes to like gamers, right, and especially when it comes to certain YouTubers, like the bigger YouTubers, and I'm talking about like guys like Rich and Rich Review Take USA, and Dreamcast guy, Spawn Wave, some of the other ones that made video on this and stuff like that, right? Obviously, when it comes to guys like that and other people, when they get attacked, especially by a guy who's a public figure like Soldier Boy, they're gonna feel some type of way about it, right? And whether it's right or wrong it really is depending on you. Me personally, I wouldn't give a shit, to be honest with you. But like he made these attacks and whatever, and some of the YouTubers came out and pretty much trashed him and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I don't I know definitely Dreamcast guy did. He trashed him, said that, he's probably gonna go to jail and stuff like that. And to me, ultimately, and what happens is that, you know, when you see it, when the one thing that, and this is coming back to another thing, right? When gamers get attacked, they tend to attack back viciously. They in their attacking groups, right? And the most people I see attacking groups let's be real about it, are white YouTubers. Like some of the bigger YouTubers that would be triggered by that type of response from Soldier Boy. And I think Soldier Boy also said that the most of the vitriol coming for him is because he's black or whatever. So he used the race card, right? And I'll be frank, I think he definitely used the race card, 100%. So and obviously when he said that and said some of the other stuff he said on Twitter, that got a lot of people, Dreamcast guy, Rich Retake USA, got them, feeling some type of way about it, and they made their comment. And the one thing that I noticed about African Americans, and obviously if you guys can't tell, I'm one myself, I'm black too. But the one thing I noticed this all throughout my lifetime, that when you see a bunch of people, a bunch of white people, especially those who have who have who have a higher standing in like in like a social circle. Like what I mean by that is when you see, for example, when you see, let's say, an athlete, a black athlete says something that's stupid or whatever, or something that's deemed to be controversial, right? And you see most of the people that you see on TV are white, and especially probably more so as we're going up nowadays. Obviously, you have companies like ESPN trying to diversify and stuff like that. But that's for a different time for this story, right? You see a lot of sports journalists, sports writers, stuff like that, wringing their hands at the quote arrogant or angry black athlete. The vast majority of those people are white, right? And the thing that I noticed from African Americans is when black people when white people when they feel like black people are being attacked by a group of white people, they then turn around and start defending him and getting upset and defending the black athlete, regardless, or what, or black athlete or black person in general. It doesn't matter, regardless of whether or not that person's right or wrong. You know what I mean? The biggest example I could think of is OJ. Now, when the whole OJ thing happened, I think I was in third grade when that happened. So I was young, but I was also old enough to realize what was going on. I knew who OJ Simpson was and stuff like that, and pretty much most of the people in my class, and I know definitely all the teachers knew who he was. And when you look at the OJ Simpson situation as a whole, when you look at, especially if you watch that documentary that ESPN did, probably about a year or two ago, you look at all the circumstances and everything going around that one particular case. It was pretty fucking clear that dude was guilty. Clear as day, he killed those two people, right? For whatever reason, I believe, and I believed it back then when I was younger, that he killed those people. And it was unfortunate that you had situations in the past with Rodney King, with a I forgot the black girl's name, but she got shot in the store by a Korean, I think it was a Korean woman, like a few months before the whole OJ Simpson thing happened. and you look at all the injustices that we deal with as African Americans in history, and even some would argue, and I would argue too, some of the stuff we deal with today, and you look at a situation where an African American man in O.J. Simpson pretty much got what we would probably perceive was white privilege treatment when it came to the justice system. That the justice system for once actually helped out a black man. When in actuality, the justice system pretty much just did what they normally did. But the thing is that the reverse was true. Like they, instead of screwing over, black people, they actually aided the black person. Right, and the thing is that, and you look, they done studies on this, and it was evident at my job, at not my job, at my school at the time, that most of the people who thought he was innocent were black, and most of the people who thought he was guilty were white. That was pretty clear. And I think, and obviously not as serious a term, but I feel like this is the situation that we got into now when it comes to the whole Soldier Boy console thing, right? Soldier Boy threw out the race card, which is clearly what he did here. And you see a lot of African Americans. I don't think a lot of them are necessarily defending what he's doing. I just think that they're saying is they're pretty much saying, "Oh well, if he wants to do it, let him do it. It's not a big deal, right?" And I actually fall in the same camp. I didn't give it fly. Give me one second. Wait, one moment. I'm sorry, I was interested there for a second. Yeah. When what was that? What was I at? Okay, okay, okay. All right. Let me. I'm gonna try to. I forgot what I was saying. I was distracted. Um, when obviously Soldier Boy threw the race card. Obviously, it's pretty clear what he did, right? And what a lot of people that I've seen on my timeline, and a lot of the people who I see fighting are people who I like and respect. So I don't want. I'm not gonna like trash them or anything like that. But the one thing I noticed from them is that they're pretty much saying that it's not. It really shouldn't be a big deal, and myself included. I don't think it's necessarily a big deal. I didn't really care all that much about the console. I didn't. I just didn't care. But they're saying is that why isn't anyone else getting the same type of treatment? Well, not everybody else. Like, here's the thing: not everybody else is going to respond the way that Soldier Boy responded to the criticism. Like, I mean, we have to take that into account too. Like, I don't think I don't think that guys like Rich or Dreamcast guy are racist. Like, that's the thing that was thrown around by some people saying that, oh, they their response is racist or whatever, and that their response is not conducive of the same energy that would happen if, let's say, if a white celebrity was endorsing this. One, if that white celebrity attacked gamers and stuff like that, I'm sure they would feel the same way. I'm sure they would. Now, would there be some white people who might be defending him? Probably, more than likely. I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is, man. Everybody's different. Everyone has their own, opinions and vices and biases and all the other shit. Like, that's how life that's how life goes. Now, do I think a guy like Dreamcast guy is racist because of it? No, I don't. Again, and like I don't know him, so I'm not gonna sit there and be like definitive. Oh, this dude is not racist. I'm not gonna outright defend him because the dude, for all I know, could be a Klan member. I don't know. Like, I have no clue. But based on what I see from him, from watching his videos and listening to him on podcasts and stuff like that, he doesn't come off as a guy who would just who is just like, it screams racist to me, or like, who screams hypocrite to me also. Like, another thing, people are saying that they're hypocrites, saying that, saying that, oh well, they had no problem with games being, with other games being, like, other gaming emulation systems being coming out, but they have a problem with Soldier Boy. And to me, I don't think the problem is with the Soldier Boy thing. I don't think the Soldier Boy thing was a thing because at the end of the day, like if the Soldier Boy console, I like again, I guess the people didn't know what it was, but when it came out, no one was really talking about it. Like all they were saying is that I think for the most part, people were saying that the product was not very good. I think that's what they were saying. I don't think they were saying that he didn't have a right to make this or whatever. I think that's what it turned into after the tweets came out from Soldier Boy, but I don't think it was done in a way that was like I don't think it was done in a way that was like, oh well, you know this dude shouldn't be allowed to do it. He should be in jail and all that other stuff. I don't think it really was that all the way. Even though I do think that, in my opinion, I do think so. Dreamcast guy, I think he got a little bit overboard with his criticism. When I first saw the video, I thought it was a joke. When he was saying, "Oh, he should go to jail" and stuff I thought it was a joke. That's what I thought. Um, but it seemed like it wasn't really a joke. So I don't know. I think he just I think he was just upset with the attitude that Soldier Boy had. It is what it is, man. Like I don't think it's necessarily a big deal, to be honest with you. But unfortunately, when you have things like that, people are accusing people of not being black enough, and all the people throwing out race card and shit like that. To me, all that stuff is just unnecessary. Like at the end of the day, it's just a stupid console by a dude who's it was irrelevant. This whole notion that everyone's getting upset and getting arguing over some one hit wonder rapper. It doesn't surprise me, but it's disappointing because at the end of the day, like who the hell cares? Nobody, no one should care. The amount of outrage that I see going on and people fighting and arguing and shit and blocking each other and flagging each other, like it's all over some stupid rapper, over some stupid loser rapper who made a console that ain't worth shit. And if he wants to sell that console for like twice as much, and idiots want to buy it, that's fine. I don't care. He can sell it to anybody he wants. The only thing that matters is that I'm not buying it. That's it. Like if some random fuckboy wants to buy that console, let him. Let him. Like I seen some of the videos about, I seen some of the titles about, oh, Soldier Boy shouldn't do this and shouldn't do that, whatever. Like, who the fuck cares? Let him do what he wants, and let him do what he wants, and let nature take its course. If Nintendo's going to sue him, let them sue him. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? I'm sure I don't know if Nintendo's already in the process of suing him already. I don't know, but to me, like, I'm like there's all the anger going on both sides is so unnecessary because like it don't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. So before I go, um, I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, and I'm gonna try to make this brief. But one of the things that I had to deal with growing up was not having a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like my parents were not into video games at all. I didn't have disposable income to just buy whatever game I wanted, right? Like I could, obviously I had Blockbuster and West Coast Video, which was like the local one in my neighborhood. But at the end of the day, they didn't have all the games that I wanted. You know what I mean? Like they didn't have all the games that were available to me. So um going into I believe it was like my first year going into middle school is when I discovered emulation and ROMs. Right, a friend of mine told me about it, and I was interested because I wanted to try out these games that I never got a chance to play. There were some Japanese games he was telling me about, like Hyper Dimension. The first time I ever played Dragon Ball Z Hyper Dimension was through emulation. Me discovering Fire Pro Wrestling was through emulation. Um, even some of the games down here, like I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. Um, even some of the games that came out, in this country, I wasn't able to try out But but thanks to emulation, I was able to try out. I think the game that would come to mind for me was Monopoly, right? Not Monopoly. I didn't, I thought the board game is cool. I love Monopoly, but the board game can be kind of boring. Let's be real, right? The board game can be the traditional tabletop board game could be boring. But when you play it on, at least the Super Nintendo version, it was fun for me and my family to play because it was quick. It was easy. You didn't have to worry about, you didn't have to worry about setting pieces on a board and nothing like that. It was cool. And to me, I always feel like emulation, while it shouldn't be obviously we all know about piracy, and piracy obviously is wrong. But when it comes to like old games, like we're talking about like Atari, Nintendo, and and Neo Geo, like games like that. I think that game emulation is a great way for, especially for younger kids, to discover gaming's past, right? And I'm not saying that I don't know what Soldier Boy's intentions were. Before even after he made the song, when he became popular, I always like heard that he was into gaming and stuff like that. So I don't know, I don't know what his end game was. Maybe it was just to make money. But to me, like I can appreciate somebody who respects gaming, right? Like who respects the history of gaming. And it's very hard to really get an understanding of what the history of gaming was when you don't have the consoles and the consoles available. Like like I said, I can't just go to a random store and find a Neo Geo anywhere. At least definitely, especially not one that works. You know what I mean? Like you don't like finding a Sega Saturn is probably gonna be difficult unless you go online, right? Same thing with PlayStation ones, N64s, like stuff like that. It's hard. It's hard to find it's hard to find these consoles and these games that go along with those consoles, and that's why I feel like emulation is such a big deal, and I think is why I I appreciate um emulation. You know what I mean? And to me, when people talking about the whole Soldier Boy thing, and people were like, "Oh, well, Nintendo's gonna get them." When it comes to Nintendo emulation, I have to say, Nintendo can go fuck themselves. You know what I mean? Like they can go straight to hell with that bullshit. Because to me, what they're doing is that they're using, scare tactics when it comes to, especially when it came to what they've done with some emulation sites, and all they're doing this all because they want to resell you their history for a price, right? And people are gonna say, "Well, what about Sony and PlayStation now and this and that?" Listen, you can find emulation for PS1s, PS2s, and stuff like that. You can find those, anywhere. And Sony, to my knowledge, hasn't gone out of their way to try to kill emulation. You know what I mean? And if they do, I'm gonna come at them just as hard as I do with Nintendo, and probably even worse. Because you look at what happened with the PlayStation Classic, they royally fucked that shit up. Fucked it up completely. All because they wanted a a cash grab. That's it. It wasn't about the love of the console, or really showing appreciation to the console that gave them their start. All they did was just do what Nintendo did, just not as well, and pooped out a piece of shit emulation box. That's pretty much what they did. You know what I mean? And it's annoying because like my annoyance with it goes deeper than that. But even still, like when it comes to emulation, you figure that a company that has the income, that has the resources to make something that could have gone beyond what any other retro console was doing before, and they just completely fucked it up. They completely fucked that shit up, right? But at the end of the day, they're not trying to kill emulation, services or whatever, like Nintendo's been trying to do. And to me, emulation is important because to me, it gives people a way to discover games that they didn't get a chance to discover before. Without and I don't believe that it's a risk to like game companies nowadays, because like I said, a lot of these licenses, a lot of these games are old. They're hard to find, and it's not like the company is going to be damaged because of it. Because at the end of the day, we don't know who owns it. Could be some random Joe Smo company. Could be a laundromat somewhere who may own the intellectual rights to some of these games. You never know. You never know. So like I don't want to make this go on too long. So overall, here's my thing, right? As the title says, you guys calm your asses down. You guys need to find something more productive to argue about, because this is dumb. Like, let the man live. If he wants to make a console, a shitty ass emulation console, and wants to get sued by Nintendo, let him. Let him. And let's also not just throw out the race card just because you don't like what other people are doing. Let's calm the fuck down, people. Calm your asses down. Movie 186. I'm out.